Hi scrapbookers, this is Megan and I am back with another school themed layout. For this one, I'm going to be using the Hall Pass collection from We Are Memory Keepers. And I believe I got this collection probably a couple years ago on scrapbooksteals.com. It was just a kit that they had, I think it was just a paper kit that they had put together, or I might have actually gotten it at a local craft store. I don't quite remember because it was like 2 years ago, but I wanted to use something different than the Chamel collection, so I decided to pull the school one out. And first off, I am going to do a Project Life front and back page, and for this one, I am scrapbooking Jonas and Brennan's last day of school. Well, it's actually the day before the last day of school. They always have their field day on the day before their last day of school. So for this one, I am going to be scrapbooking Brennan's field day. And usually what I try to do with my kids is I try to go and spend at least an hour with them and their class so that I can get some pictures and help them to remember these memories for, the years to come and everything, because I just think it's fun to remember, who their friends are and who their classmates are and things like that. So for this Project Life spread, I'm going to keep it very, very simple. I don't really like to do a whole lot of embellishing on these scrapbooking pages just because they're just there solely because these are extra pictures that I have that I didn't want to include on the actual layout that I'm going to make at the end. So for these photos, there are 3 in a row that I'm going to be working on right now, and they are going to be of Brennan and his classmates playing a game where I just called it fill the bucket with a sponge game. That's what I call it. I don't really know what it's called, but what you do is you stand in a line and you have a full bucket of water at one end and an empty bucket at the other end, and you're on 2 different teams, and the team who fills their bucket using the sponge, the bucket at the end, then they win. So that's what they are playing here. And so I'm just cutting down the photos because I was quite a bit away, and so they were really small on the 4x6 photos. So I cut them down just to the kids, and you can see Brennan in both pictures. I don't point out where he is. I probably should put a sticker on there that says, Brennan's here with an arrow, but I didn't do that. So here I pull out my Real Red Stampin' Up! Ink pad, and also one of those $1 little stamp sets from Michael's. I got that probably a couple years ago too. And so I'm just going to put the name of the game up at the top, on top of those 2 photos that I have in that very top pocket. And then I will do the journaling in the second pocket underneath where I have the title and everything. So I'm just pulling out all of the letters that I need for the title to write out fill the bucket with a sponge game. And that takes a while because, and this is one of the reasons why I don't really like stamping with individual woodblock stamps, is because you have to sit there and find every single one, and then you have to stamp each one individually. I love using the photopolymer stamps where you can just put the whole alpha, or the whole title on one stamp and just stamp it all at once. So this did take a little while, but I really like how it turned out, and I'm very happy with this spread. It's just very, very simple, like I said. So that is pretty much what I'm doing there, and I think I just finished. So now I'm just going to clean off all of those stamps, and I turned off the camera because that was going to take forever, and I didn't want you to have to see that. So now I'm just doing the journaling, and I can read that to you. Basically, I'm just saying that my neighbor slash friend was running this game, The kids split into 2 teams and had to pass a sponge filled with water from the full bucket on one end of the line to the empty bucket on the other end. Brennan's team filled their empty bucket first, and Becky took a picture for me so that we could remember. And so the very bottom pocket is going to be a picture of Brennan with the rest of his teammates, and I also put a little banner that was on one of those paper strips, and it says "Go Team," and then underneath the banner, I write Brennan's team won. So there, I'm just putting those 2 in those pockets, and now I'm going to start working on the next 3 images. Now for this side of this spread layout, I don't know, project life page, whatever you want to call it, I just decided to just mount that top photo on the same piece of paper that I was using on the other side, and then I just wrote out dancing to the YMCA song. Then they played Limbo, and for some reason I didn't take any pictures of Brennan's class doing the limbo, so I just, is that what you call it? Limbo, right? Where you go under the bar? Anyway, so that was the only really journaling or anything I did about that. Okay, now I'm going to move on to the back side, and this side is even more minimal than the front. I just wanted to get these pictures in there and to get this documented. Brennan loves to see pictures of himself and of his friends, and so my basic plan with this was just that I wanted him to be able to see all of these photos of him with his friends and everything. And so for this side that I am on right now, let's see what I'm trying to do. I pulled out an old Stampin' Up! Stamp set. I have no idea what the name of it is. I'm going to use the Real Red Stampin' Up! Ink again, and I'm going to, on the left-hand side, the pictures are of his class playing Frisbee. And so I'm just going to write out Frisbee on this card. I believe this was a cut apart that I got from the Chamel collection. I had cut off the little journaling part that was on the bottom, and so I'm just going to use that to label the pictures. So here I'm just stamping out the word Frisbee. And I bought this stamp set 12 years ago, so I really don't even remember what the name of it is or even if it still is available, so I apologize about that. Okay, so here I cut down that card a little bit just so that it won't be on so much of the photo, and then I'm going to glue it down. And I also pull out, I had these little red flowers that I got. I think they're plastic or resin or something, and I got those a long time ago, probably last year, in a Studio Calico kit. So I just thought I could use those up. Now here I'm just journaling about these 2 bottom photos where what the kids were doing was they were knocking the ping pong ball off the peg with a water gun. So that was really fun. Brennan got kind of frustrated. I don't think he ever actually knocked the ping pong ball off, and so it kind of made him frustrated. And then that very top photo, I don't actually do any journaling on it. I think it's kind of self-explanatory. That one, they're just playing the keep the ball on the, what is that thing called? The bouncy thing, the hot air balloon thing. What is that? I don't know. The tent? I really don't know. So keep it on the little blanket there they have. So that is the end of my project life pages for this little spread I have going on. Now I'm going to move on to the actual 12 by 12 layout, and I really like this layout. I wasn't really sure exactly what I wanted to do with it, but I had these 2 pictures of Brennan. One is with his teacher from last year, and then the other one is just Brennan, and I just thought that was really a really cute photo of him. So I wanted to put these 2 together on a layout. Here I am cutting down a couple cut aparts from this collection, and this first one is called School is Cool, and so I'm just cutting that out. And then there was another one that had a green scalloped edge, and I really liked that, so I'm going to put that at the top and then have the School is Cool little arrow banner underneath that. So here I'm going to place those there. And now I'm going to try to figure out where I want to put my photos and how I want to back them and everything. So I'm kind of off looking for some paper, and I'm thinking at this point, I think I want to put them up there in the top left-hand corner, but then that would leave the whole layout unbalanced because it would be really, top and left-hand corner heavy. So I'm going to decide to put them to the bottom right. And here I'm just kind of going through a couple of those pattern papers, but I didn't really like any of them. So I'm going to back the photos on just some plain white cardstock. And then I'm going to stamp using a new stamp set that I just got from Close to My Heart. And I'm going to kind of make a pattern on a dark background for the photos to be matted on. So here I'm just cutting up, and I did cut this too wonky or something. It just didn't look right. And so I pulled it off, and then I'm just going to put it on this paper and cut it using my Fiskars cutter. When I use my scissors, I don't always do the best job. And so I usually stay away from that. But for some reason, I just really wanted to use my scissors to cut that day. So here I'm going to use this paper, and I don't remember which one, but that is still from the Hall Pass collection, which was by We Are Memories Keeper. And then let me check the name of the stamp. It's called Geometric Backgrounds. And I just used the top stamp on that, and I'm going to use my my Real Red Stampin' Up! Ink. I don't have a whole lot of Close to My Heart ink pads. I'm trying to get more, but they do cost a lot, and so I'm kind of, buying them in spurts. So I just got a navy blue one, which I really absolutely love, and I'm so excited. But since I already have this red, even though it's Stampin' Up, like, I'll probably just keep it anyway. It is really old, and so it is kind of losing some of the ink. So I probably should buy a re-inker, but I just really, I don't know. I kind of just want to stick to Close to My Heart because I like being with one company. So here I'm just stamping all up and down and on the sides of the paper that I'm going to be sticking on the background of the photos. And I really, really like how this pattern turned out. Like you can see that it's there, but like it's still kind of not really transparent, but it's still kind of like blending in because the background color on the paper is so dark that it's not like really in your face. And I kind of like that pattern. So here I'm just going to clean off the stamp. And the blocks that I use are actually from Silhouette because I bought the Silhouette stamping kit a few years ago, and it had a bunch of blocks that came with it. So I figure I don't really need to buy the Close to My Heart if I already have these ones. So that's why I use the Silhouette ones. Okay, so here I'm just gluing it down, and I'm going to end up cutting a little bit. I cut the papers too big. At first I was thinking I was going to do a big border, but then I decided I don't want it to be that big. And I'm making the border around the picture of Just Brennan even smaller than the one of him and his teacher. And then I'm going to glue all of these things down. And I really wanted to do that School is Cool little arrow at an angle, but it wasn't going on at the angle that I wanted it to. And so I end up like putting it, I mean, it's still at an angle. It's just not at the angle I wanted. Wah, wah. Anyway, so here I am cutting up this banner, and it's kind of an orangish red. And so it was kind of blending in. So I'm going to use this black ink, and this is just Heidi Swapp black ink. And I'm going to stick that under the photos there. And then I also have some of these Polaroid frames that are from the True Stories collection from Chamel. And so I'm going to cut 2 of those up and use those in 2 different areas. Well, actually 3 different areas. So I put one to the bottom left of the photo. Then I cut up this red one that says hello on it. And I'm going to put the part that says hello at the very bottom. And then the top of that, I'm going to put it at the top and make a cluster up there. So now here is where I'm thinking, because at first I was thinking I wanted to do both gray Polaroid frames, but then I was like, well, we need some variety in color. So this is where I decide to cut down that red one that says hello. And then I'm also going to take away one of the other parts of the frame that I cut in half and put this tag in place, and I'm going to do the journaling on there. So here I pull out some Studio Calico geotags that have hearts on them, and I'm going to put those in 3 different places on my layout. And then I'm also going to, I guess I'm going to start gluing all of this stuff down to make sure it stays. And I kind of wish that I had moved the little hello Polaroid frame over a little bit, but it's okay. It looks fine. So then I cut down that tag and I'm going to stick it right up there above the bottom photo. And then I'm going to use my Tombow Mono Aqua Glue to glue down the geotags. And that glue works really well with the wood veneer. I really like using it. I also like to use glue Zots for wood veneer, but these were a little too small that they wouldn't work because they had the heart in the middle. Okay, so now I'm going to pull out a couple gold sparkly enamel dots and then the smaller yellow ones. And I'm just going to put those in those 3 clusters on the layout. And I use my Zots to glue these down. I am in love with glue dots. I just love them. I actually think I need to go buy some more. So I'm going to be going on a spending freeze in October. And if I do well in October, I really, really need to go on a spending freeze for like the next 6 months because we have tons of bills we need to pay off. And so I'm going to try to do a 6-month spending freeze. So I need to stock up on glue and things this month so that I don't have to go and spend any money. Okay, so here I'm just doing my journaling, and on the tag I write, Brennan loved having Mrs. Tracy as his 3rd grade teacher. And I could probably write the date underneath that. I did not, but there is a space, and so I'm thinking that I'm just going to write that in with my handwriting right now. Now I am thinking about the title, and I pulled out this. Let's see, what kind is it? It's a thicker, it's kind of like rubbery though, and it's kind of like a olive green. And I really liked this layout. I thought it went really well. Or not this layout, this alpha, whatever you call it. So I'm just going to spell out Field Day with Brennan. And I was going to try to have it be up there at the top next to the arrow. Oh, excuse me. And have it coming all the way down to the tag, to right above that tag. And so I was going to have it say Field Day with Brennan's class, but I had run all out of lowercase s's and I needed 2 of them. And so I was like, oh man, I'm not going to just try to make them up out of something. I do sit there and try to think, oh, I could do this, but no, it just doesn't work. And so I decided to just change it to Field Day with Brennan. And Brennan's name is really long, so it's kind of hard to put it in any of those empty spaces that I have available for a title. So I'm going to have to turn it sideways and put it right next to his photo. So that's exactly what I'm going to do. So now I'm going to start putting down the word day, and then I'll put field up above that, that bigger picture. And then I'll put Brennan on the side of his photo, and then the word with will just go directly above Brennan. And I like how that turns out. I showed Brennan the layout and he was like, cool, I like it. So I thought that was fun. And then once I'm done with the title, I'm going to do some extra journaling right underneath where it says the with Brennan part of the title. And what I'm going to write there is just Tinny and I tagged along with Brennan and some of his class. He had so much fun playing the games and was glad I came. So Brennan is such a cute boy. I love him to death. Like, I mean, obviously, because he's my son, but he is just such a total sweetheart. Like, when we are out doing things as a family, or, if I come to his school or something, he is like the most loving child. And then you bring him, and then he comes home and he's like this demon child. Like, he's not really a demon child. He's just very, everything has to be his way, and he's just he's a ADHD kid, so he is on meds, and when he's not on his meds, you can definitely tell. But like, even on meds, or like at school, he probably wouldn't even need to be on meds, because he is the kind of kid where at home it's his place where he can just be whatever he wants, and at school he is a rule follower and just sticks to the rules and does everything he should and is so good, and then everywhere else he is, this crazy child. So anyway, this is my layout that I made about Brennan's field day. I hope you guys enjoyed watching it, and hopefully I'll be able to come back tomorrow and show you another layout that I've made with the school photos and the school themes. So thanks so much for watching, guys. I will have all my links below with all of the other ladies that are participating with me this week in this school themed layout hop. Thanks. Bye.